Welcome, everyone. We're super excited to announce this new initiative we have this summer. We have a new program called the Daniels Architecture and Film Bootcamp, and this is our virtual open house. We hope that after today's session, you'll have a deeper understanding of our programming for this summer and that we've answered your questions related to the Architecture and Film Bootcamp. Before we begin, I wish to acknowledge the land on which the University of Toronto operates. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and most recently, the Mississaugas of the Credit River. Today, this meeting place is still home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land. Daniels honors Indigenous people past, present, and future here and around the world, and we wish to pay respect to local elders, including those of the lands from which you are joining us virtually today. If you have questions during the event, please use the Q&A function instead of the chat. You can find that at the bottom of your Zoom screen. We will answer your questions in the Q&A at the end of the event. We'll also be sharing information in the chat, so do have that open as well. I'd like to introduce the other people that are in this virtual open house. Petros Babasikas is our director of the undergraduate program, and he's overseeing the summer program curriculum, so the high school programs. We have Aidan Cowling, who's the coordinator of public programming and outreach. And we have Nico Delic, who is our student instructor. And I'm really super excited to have Jay Pooley, who's our curriculum developer. Over to you, Jay.
Hey, thank you very much, Nini. Welcome everyone. My name is Jay Pooley, and I'm an assistant professor in the teaching stream here at the Daniels faculty. And I'm here today to talk to you about a new high school age summer camp that teaches architecture through the lens of film production. So I'm just going to turn on the slides. Okay, so welcome to the Daniels Architecture Film and Boot Camp, summer 2021. So along with teaching architectural design, I also work in the film and television industry as a production designer. And what that means is I'm responsible for the creation of atmospheres and sets and special effects and all sorts of things that take the shape of rooms, of landscapes, of city blocks, and moments inside of abstract worlds. And I believe the link to my website has been chatted out, and you can have a look through at some of my work. I've been really lucky to work with a number of productions around the world. I've shot with some really incredible directors and cinematographers. This is a still from a campaign I did with the Canadian Olympics Committee. This was from No Frills, from the Haulers campaign from the last couple of years. And I've also recently had the opportunity to work on a Star Wars job that was shot here in Toronto. Along with teaching architecture through the lens of film, in the boot camp, we're also really interested in doing that here at Daniels as well. And we've actually made a number of student films, which we call Films About Architecture. And I'd like to share one of them with you, just as sort of a preview into some of the work that we'll be doing during the summer camp. So that film was done by two first-year undergraduate students of mine about 5 years ago, and they were asked to study the architecture of the neighborhood of Kensington Market, which is just down the road from the Daniels building at One Spadina. So to me, architecture is kind of a less permanent way, or sorry, film is a kind of a less permanent way of studying architecture. And I've worked to develop this program in a way that allows us to use the same techniques in terms of seeing and representing the world around us that I use both in my study and practice here at the university and in my practice of production design for the film industry. So I'd like to introduce my colleague Nico Delic, who is a graduate student here at Daniels, who's just working on finishing up his thesis, and he's going to talk a little bit about some of his interests as well.
Thanks for that, Jay, and thanks for sharing that film. That was quite inspiring. So hi, everyone. My name is Nico Delic. Like Jay said, I'm a Master's of Architecture student, just kind of finishing up my MArch thesis. And largely because of the format, but also because of my interests, a lot of it is also animation and film. And it's certainly something that allows architecture to be expressed in a sort of contemporary way, because oftentimes architecture is something that takes a long time to construct, but its image and how we understand it can be framed and composited in throughout film. And with that being said, storytelling is something that's super captivating and super powerful, whether it's in architecture or business or at any point of life, being able to communicate stories is such a valuable skill. And so growing up, I spent 6 years as a camp counselor teaching people how to swim and teaching people sort of life skills there. And while that was sort of a physical side of education, I hope now to sort of transition those skills of mentorship into being sort of fostering people's creative skills through film and through architecture. So yeah, I'm looking forward, and it should be a really great time.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to turn the slides back on. Okay, so a little bit about the who portion of this. So this program is designed for anyone in late high school ages, so predominantly grades 11 and 12. Now, if you're a little bit younger than that, if you're say 15 and up, and you're comfortable working with students who are maybe 18 or 19 years old, it's totally fine to join the program as well. The age is flexible. Additionally, it's also open to current undergraduates from any discipline who have an interest in architecture. Maybe it's something that you're just starting to learn about, or something that you've had a bit of an interest developing in that you might want to pursue in your undergraduate career. We're very happy to have you as well. The benefit of this program is it's really for not only those who are interested in architecture and design and film and production design, but anyone interested in a career specifically in those design fields. Some of the projects that we'll be working on will help you develop and build your portfolio, which will be useful in your applications to, say, an undergraduate program like ours at Daniels. There's fairly limited requirements, but one of them is that you'll need to have a laptop, and you'll need to have a smartphone, something that you can shoot some video with. It doesn't have to be a really, really good one. That film that I just showed you, that was from about 5 years ago. So those students, they didn't even have the iPhone X12. They probably had the iPhone 2, and it was still a really, really great film. So it doesn't have to be super high tech. As long as you have something to shoot a little bit of film on that you're comfortable with, and a laptop that you can work on, that's totally fine. And then we're going to help walk you through how to develop your space to work in, and how to develop and work with your software. So we'll provide the software that you'll be using, including the Adobe Creative Suite and some three-dimensional modeling softwares as well. The program includes one-on-one instruction and feedback. So you'll be working directly with Nico throughout the day. And then we'll also be developing workshops with Nico and other guest speakers that develop skills in representation and documentation of architecture. Along with that, throughout the week, we'll be having and hosting film screenings that'll be themed around architecture. So you'll be able to learn about architecture in a few different mediums. We'll also be presenting some virtual field trips to local production facilities. So for myself, I shoot film around the world. I've worked in Europe, in Los Angeles, in New York, and also in Western Canada. And I've been able to make contacts all around the globe for some very elite filmmakers and people who help support the type of work I do in terms of building sets and building special effects and also post-production and visualization. So we'll be offering some field trips to learn some more about the allied fields in the realm of production design and architecture. Additionally, we'll be hosting peer reviews where you will be presenting your work to practitioners in the field and other design professionals. And then along with that, we'll be having weekly lectures from practicing architects and faculty. In terms of where, the program, of course, is going to take place online. And for all of you in the audience, I'll say the same thing that I've said to my students all year long. And that is that I'm extremely proud of you and extremely excited to meet you. Because the fact that you're here today with everything that's going on in the world is incredibly impressive. That you have the fortitude and the ambition to keep learning and to keep being curious about the world through a global pandemic and everything else that's going on. That's extremely impressive to me. So I'm really, really excited to be able to meet you and to be able to work with you. Now, along those lines, of course, we'll be working online. However, we won't be just living in Zoom. Here at Daniels, we've developed an online studio that takes place on a platform called GatherTown. And GatherTown is this really cool sort of Nintendo style universe that we hang out in and walk around in, and we have classrooms. And this is an image here of one of my classes this year from GatherTown. And you can see all of our students sitting on the main table in the bottom right-hand corner there, and then there's other breakout tables on the left-hand side. When we're inside of GatherTown, we're also working on a platform called Miro. And Miro is like a pinup space where you can hang up and talk about and comment on your work. So if you've ever taken an art class or seen an image of somebody working in an art studio where they pin their work up on the wall and we all stand around it and share some feedback and comments and criticism around the work, this is the same thing, except that it lives online all the time. So you can always go back and visit it. It's actually been something that we've been really excited about throughout the school year. And I think that we'll probably continue to do once we get back to in-person teaching. And here's one of our Miro boards from one of our courses this year. Okay, so when is all this happening? Well, the dates are listed on the website. It's a 4-week curriculum, and it's offered twice through the summer. So for specific dates, jump onto the website and they'll chat the link out right now for you. Each of the programs is broken into a 1-week course, and you can take all the weeks all at once, or you can take them individually. The program will work best if you take them consecutively, but you don't necessarily have to. And I'll walk you through how the program is structured shortly. All right, so starting with course number 1, it's titled The Story and the Object. In course 1, participants will document the experience of an existing space through a short film. This can be your neighborhood, a building, or a singular room. You'll select an object within this space that helps to describe its character. You'll document that object and you'll document the object as built and drawn artifacts. And inside of week 1, introductory skills in filmmaking, drawing, and model building will be taught. And this is an example of a model that was used as a light tool. And this model actually built this drawing and this drawing. So the students were asked to make a tool that they could draw with using light, and that the light could be captured using long exposure photography. So here's an example of something you might be doing. In the second week, in course 2, it's titled The World and the Abstract. So now in this course, participants will write a short narrative for the world, but reimagining the world by adding or removing a spatially critical truth, such as my house exists without gravity, or nothing in the world is symmetrical, or the stairs run upside down now. So you have to take that existing space that you developed and document it in week 1, and you're going to flip it upside down and say, here's something about it that doesn't exist anymore. And we have to imagine it and represent it in a different way. As well, in week 2, techniques in drawing and model building, representation, and a bit of filmmaking will be taught. So you'll be taught to think about this world that you originally documented in week 1, and you'll be taught to think about it in an abstract way and how to represent that in a really, really cool way. Now, for students who have completed week 1 of the program, you'll continue working inside of that previously documented world. And for students who are just joining the program, you'll actually start inside of an abstract world. So if the room is too boring in week 1, you can start in week 2 and go right to the abstraction. So week 3 is called the story and the abstract. In week 3, participants will document the experience of an abstract world through a short film, supplemented through the creation of a series of architectural documentation, and expanded skills in filmmaking, drawing, and model building will be taught. So inside of week 3, you'll actually document this abstract world through a short film. And then finally in week 4, titled The World and the Character, you'll expand the narrative of the world by imagining a new place currently outside of the story. So in week 3, you develop this new story, and then in week 4, you're going to expand the story in an abstract way. So it can be a moment from a building, a collection of buildings, placed in an adjacent environment, or completely out of the world. You'll document the relationship of your addition through a short film that explores the world through the lens of a new character. And then again, we'll be teaching some model building, filmmaking, and other modes of architectural representation. Now, for students who have completed week 2 or 3 of the program, you'll continue working inside of this previously imagined world. For students who are just joining the program, you'll be working inside the world of an existing film. So you'll be working inside of one of the films that we will be presenting in order to expand that existing space. Now, a sample day inside of each week is basically broken down into 2 components. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you'll have a tutorial and workshop in the morning, followed by a work period in the afternoon. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you'll be doing what we're going to be calling a media discovery. So that'll be a tour or a lecture or a talk from somebody outside of the course. There'll be some office hours. We can talk one-on-one with Nico or another instructor. And then there'll be a work period in the afternoon. So that's pretty much the outline for what we are developing for you this summer. We're really excited about it. It's something that's brand new and something that's close to all of us who are working on the program. And we're really, really excited to hopefully see you there. And I'd like to open it up if there's any questions at all. I'm going to turn off the slides and go back to gallery.
Yeah, we're just going to switch back to a gallery view right now. So there are a couple of questions. I think one question is, we can start at any course. We don't have to start from course 1, is the question.
That's right. Yeah, it works well if you take them consecutively or if you take 1 or 2 weeks in a row, but you don't necessarily have to. Where we have it developed so that you can jump into week 3 or you can jump into week 2.
But for the full experience, book for all 4 weeks, right?
Right.
And if you are booking online, just let us know if you book multiple sessions and we'll apply the discount for you. So just letting you know that. There was a question that I answered, was just asking about whether this would be the link to this recording. It will be posted on our website after the event, so you can review this. I just want to ask Petros if he wanted to say anything. So again, just to reintroduce, Petros is our director of the undergraduate program. He's overseeing both high school programs to ensure that it reflects a Daniels experience. We want to make sure that participants really understand what a post-secondary experience at Daniels might be like. And so we integrate with our undergraduate program director. Over to you, Petros.
Yeah, sure. No, I think we're really excited to be offering this seminar, and I have to say that it's very close to a lot of work we're doing in our undergraduate studios as well, and we've been talking about those with Jay over the past strange year that we've been living in. The one thing is that we're at Daniels, we're very interested in multi or interdisciplinarity. We're a liberal arts program, so you develop skills at university level of on your way toward becoming an architect, and you learn fundamentals about drawing, model making, architecture, the history of architecture. But there's also many other skills that you work on at the same time, including technology and including theory, and including storytelling and filmmaking, and finding ways to interface with politics and society and really the bigger challenges that our cities and the world are facing, and how architecture can respond to that, sustainability and justice. So we stand by this model of education that I think is quite unique in Canada and really at the top level globally as a liberal arts program. So in this way, this sort of course, this boot camp is very close to our mission, which is this interdisciplinary mission. And then there's more to it, because I think over the past year, we've really tried to find ways to produce ways to look into the spaces we design within a virtual world. And as our model making resources, physical model making using the woodshop, presenting in real time and real space were limited, we turned to film and really discovered pretty amazing ways to explore our designs and our buildings through film in multiple studios. So I think it's actually changing. The way we're working in architecture is slowly changing, especially for your generation, high school students, because you have an immediate literacy in the medium of film. You think in films and you communicate in films. It's a kind of new writing in a way. So I think this is an extremely interesting way to work, and we want to invest in that. There will be certain skills that you will develop that you can apply, like has already been said, in multiple fields, but it's really about learning the creative process and acquiring a certain visual literacy that you can bring back into the design studio, should you choose to go with that. So it's a very important way of working and a way of seeing, really, that is really in a way in the core of architectural thinking as it's changing. So we're really excited to do this and to work with you guys.
I also want to give a moment for Aidan too. So Aidan Cowling is our coordinator of public programming and outreach. And so Aidan, did you want to say a few words?
Yeah, sure. I just wanted to mention that, we've been running online programming all year, and we did it last summer as well. And that, this can be a really fun way for participants to be together online, to be social, to be engaged, and letting their creativity soar in a fun, social, working with your peers kind of way. So we really encourage everybody to come and have an awesome time this summer.
Thanks, Aidan. We have another question that I'm going to direct to you, Jay. The person is just mentioning that they missed the type of software being used. Do you want to just kind of do a recap of the software?
Yeah, for sure. So we'll be utilizing the Adobe Creative Cloud. So that's a creative suite that involves predominantly Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign, and also Premiere. And it's accessible online, so you don't need a physical copy. You download, of course. We'll also be using 3D modeling software, including Rhinoceros and potentially SketchUp. And that kind of rounds out the majority of it. There might be an opportunity to use maybe a lo-fi video editing software, something that might be more available if you're having trouble with using Premiere.
And then you had mentioned, so Zoom, potentially, we may be working in Quarkus, which is the online. So it's the University of Toronto LMS, so Learning Management System. It's really great experience if you have never used an LMS before you go to university, to have that experience of being able to actually use the system that you'll be using in the university. And the universities tend to use similar ones. So they're, even though they might be slightly different, just getting used to that kind of platform is actually really helpful. So there'll be modules there. I understand that Jay will be setting that up. As well as we had mentioned Miro, as which is an online whiteboard. It's a place of co-creating and sharing, as well as we mentioned, I think, GatherTown, which is another online collaboration platform. There may be others, you never know. There's always new ones coming out. And so I think Jay is very adept at finding the best and the best new tool to use. And he's, leading our faculty in the kind of online teaching. And so I think we're really privileged to have him here to contribute.
Thank you very much. That's generous. Yeah, in terms of course delivery, Quarkus is one that we do like to use, particularly for student organization. It's really helpful to be able to see your week laid out ahead of you, so that you can look at, virtually start to review tutorials and other recordings, other readings that will be posted to Quarkus. It'll all be in one centralized place. Because if in terms of using the software and like the creative software, like Adobe Suite and 3D modeling, there is a bit of technique behind it. And it's something that we support through virtual demonstrations as well. So not only is it taught in class, but we also have backup online tutorials if you're having trouble moving through maybe a specific process or a technique. And we've worked to extend this program throughout the school year. We've also developed this really cool thing called the Studio Skills Trail. And it's an online organization of all of the techniques, or a broad understanding of the techniques that we use inside of the studio, including analog. So we don't just live inside the computer. We want to work with things manually as well. We want you to sketch. We want you to make models with the things that you have around the house. So if you have a cardboard box and a little bit of tape, we're on our way. And we'll show you through live demonstrations how to work through some of these processes.
That's great. We did have a question that I answered in the Q&A around registration and fees. So all of that information is on our website. It depends on which course you're taking. There are some weeks during the summer that are short weeks, and so those are discounted, obviously, for the shorter weeks. And then there is a discount depending on how many courses you take. So it's not one particular fee. It depends on which weeks you're taking and how many courses you're taking as well. So you'll find all of that information on our website. I do want to let everyone know that tomorrow we have another virtual open house, and that's for the Daniels Digital Design Camp. So this is specifically designed for students that are in grades 7 to 9, and that will be at noon tomorrow. We'll be with Nicholas Hoban, who is working on the curriculum with us. And so you're welcome to join us for that. You will again find that information on our outreach page. So I think that's, it sounds like there's one other question here. Will the Adobe software and 3D model software be supplied for the course, or do we need to purchase? So it will be provided during the time that you're in the course. There are lots of free trial versions. So we'll be sending information in advance if you wanted to try downloading a trial version and testing out things in advance. You can certainly do that as well. The student version, so Adobe does offer student version. I would recommend that if you can afford it, that it is a really useful tool to get familiarized with. There are lots of free tools though too. And so if you can't afford it, you can try other online tools as well. But the Adobe Suite is a very specific collection of softwares that are often used in the industry. So I would recommend. Jay, do you have anything to add to that?
Maybe I can add something to that if you don't mind. I just want to stress that, a lot of the stuff that despite the fact that we're providing the Adobe Suite, these sort of skills that we're teaching you are translatable to any program. And for every sort of paid for Adobe program, there's a free version of it too that has the exact same workflow and the exact same ideas that we'll be going into. The Adobe Cloud is just nice because it's like a package that we can just easily give to everyone that's participating in the program.
That's great.
Not only are the skills transferable across programs and the idea of computer programs, but also educational programs as well. So I also co-instruct a combined architecture and engineering course in the first year here at Daniels as well. And one of the things we really focus on is teaching our engineering colleagues how to represent their designs in a more robust way. So I think that part of what we teach here in terms of representation and documentation is transferable across a number of different programs.
I think really the power of these programs is to have students think through how to solve a problem or do conceive of a project, but then how to execute it. And that's really like where things can fall apart. So if you don't know how to communicate your idea to someone else, it can be really difficult to actually manage delivering a full project. So I think like Jay said, it's, the skills taught here will be used in all kinds of different ways, whether you're making a small video for your own social media, or for, a class, or even, documentary filmmaking. You can, all of these things, there's basic skills that you can expand on as you grow and decide, where you want to go. And I think the beauty of a course like this and the other bootcamp is it really is a time for you to kind of explore the discipline, to really get an understanding of what a career in this discipline looks like without committing to it fully, right? So if you haven't already decided which undergraduate program you're going to attend, this is a great way to kind of test those ideas. Is this something that you're interested in? Would you like the experience at a post-secondary in a design field? And so this will really give you a very, good understanding of what that looks like. And I think it's a very low cost way. So instead of committing to a many $1,000 degree, you can sort of test out that before you actually then sign up for a program. And that's really the intention of these courses, is to allow you that space and time. And no matter whether you decide to pursue it at Daniels or anywhere else, the projects that you do can be used in any variety of ways to show people that you can actually make a creative project. It'll be something that is a point of pride, I think, for all participants. Any closing statements before, because I think we're out of questions now. Is there anything you'd like to say as we wrap up, Jay?
No, only that we're really excited to see you. We hope you join us. This is something that I really wish was around when I was your age. I think it would have been a lot of fun. It's a very different and unique offering, and one that I think will be super beneficial and that I think you'll enjoy a lot. We really enjoy teaching it, and I think you'll really enjoy studying with us.
Awesome.
I couldn't agree more. I really wish that there was a program like this available when I was looking at post-secondary. And as someone just finishing their master's, I can't stress enough how valuable this experience would be.
Awesome. So that's the end of our virtual open house. You have all of our contacts. So my name is literally on the website with my cell phone number. You're free to call if you have more questions. We encourage you to register as soon as possible to secure your place. If you need any support, email, call, and we'll be able to help you with the process. So thanks to everyone. Thanks especially to Petros, Nico, Jay, and Aiden for being on the virtual open house. And we look forward to seeing everyone this summer.